Hey, what is up guys? My name is Tom Spark. Welcome back to Tom Spark Reviews. Today we're taking a look at private internet access, doing a review, letting you know how this VPN shapes up and compares to the rest of the VPNs on the channel. So with private internet access, we're going to take a look at 6 different categories, that being pricing, application, speeds, reputation, support, and extra services. So first up guys, we do have pricing. Now private internet access is an interesting case, and we're going to see this through a couple different categories in this review even, in that they did change their pricing plan. And a lot of VPNs don't really do this. A lot of VPNs stick to one price, and they do that for years and years. ExpressVPN started out at $12.95 in like 2012, 2010, so it's been that expensive for a while, and private internet access has been the cheapest VPN in the marketplace for quite a while without discount codes. It used to be $6.95, and now private internet access is $9.95 respectively. Private internet access used to be $40 a year or $39.95, pretty much $40, and now it's $71.88. So it's almost doubled for the yearly plan, and for the monthly plan it's increased by $4, which is quite considerable. So private internet access, it is kind of standard pricing now. However, a lot of VPNs out there like TorGuard offer discount codes, and some VPNs like Windscribe are cheaper by 1 month for $1, and also their yearly plan is cheaper as well, around $50 to $60 is more of the standard range. So private internet access used to undercut everybody, and now it's slightly more expensive than some other options. So for private internet access, we're going to give it 3.5 out of 5. Not only that, they only offer a 7-day refund policy, and we can see refund policies up to 30 days for some other VPN providers. Next up for private internet access is going to be the application. Now, one thing already that private internet access that kind of does that pisses me off is that the application has a tendency to kind of fade and hide into the taskbar. It's always kind of had this tendency. I kind of wish they would just figure out a way to make it stop doing that. There's not really any settings that you can configure that kind of behavior, so you're just going to have to deal with that, kind of always hiding when you want to kind of configure it. But for the most part, private internet access actually has a very good application. It has good kill switches, it has good privacy settings, lets you block kind of malware, ads, and trackers. I really like that feature. TorGuard can do that through DNS, and Windscribe also has their Robert feature. So this is kind of a thing that I look for in VPN apps to have this kind of feature now. Not only that, but it also has some network customization with port forwarding and DNS kind of customization with custom DNS options. You also have different connection preferences able to change between UDP and TCP depending on if you want UDP for a less reliable VPN that perhaps has greater speeds, or TCP that is more reliable but have slower speeds. It's up to you. I have a video covering the difference between both of those options in detail. Not only that, but private internet access also allows you to customize your data encryption. Some people think there's not really much point to that, since AES 256 is probably capable to be run by most computers nowadays, but nevertheless you do have that option if you have maybe a really old computer. You also have the option to change the handshake, which is quite unique as well. Only really TorGuard and private internet access offer that feature, so it allows you to customize your encryption to your heart's content. You also have some options for remote ports to customize, as well as the ability to use small packets. So overall, private internet access's application is a little bit annoying how it tends to hide, and their redesign perhaps isn't as much as a deal as they made it out to be to increase the pricing. But overall, I think it is still a good application, among the best out there. So 4.5 out of 5. Customer support is an interesting thing for private internet access, that's for sure. They've had an interesting history with customer support. So they at one point they kind of dislodged their entire support team. They kind of were like, oh, we're going to fire everyone in our support team. We're going to hire a new batch of people that are working in office. These are going to be better customer support representatives. So they went ahead and did that, and they never seemed to really replace the customer support representatives. Not only that, but a while ago they actually removed their forums, which are a good kind of way for people to interact and kind of discuss the community in private internet access, and also perhaps even solve problems. They don't really have any of those options for a long time, and now they do seem to have a live chat feature working occasionally. So if you do come on the website at the right time, you can find that you are going to have live chat as an available option, which is always good to see. Not only that, but they seem pretty helpful from what I've tested and talked to them with. And I've also had a couple people say that support can be a hit or a miss with private internet access, and that could be true. Overall, I'm going to give private internet access's support team a 3.5 out of 5. If they want to get 4 to 5, a closer ranking to be perfect, I would say that they had to bring back their forums because they were quite good. It seems like they kind of wanted to migrate over to Reddit instead, but they didn't really listen to the community in that sense, which kind of leads me to believe they don't have a very good handle on how to, support maybe their community even. Not only that, I think more uptime on live chat could be very helpful indeed, and perhaps be more responsive to tickets and the stuff like that, since I've had a couple users on my channel complain. Next up on the list, his reputation, and this is gonna get weird. Private Internet Access has a very interesting reputation, to say the least. They've done a couple questionable things, and they've also done a couple things that are actually pretty good for the VPN industry, in my opinion. So what are some of the questionable things that Private Internet Access has done? Well, they have Roger Ver on their advisory board. Roger Ver is pretty much the creator and major proponent of Bitcoin Cash, not Bcash.
If I called you a 4-letter word that you didn't want to be called, you wouldn't appreciate it.
Bcash.
It's Bitcoin Cash. I'm not interested in being insulted.
Why do you have to take it personally?
I'm being insulted. I don't need to be insulted by you. I have enough money. I was a self-made multimillionaire. It's Bitcoin Cash.
Roger, it's Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash. It's Bitcoin Cash. Bcash.
It's not Bcash. It's Bitcoin Cash.
It's what I call it. I'm not doing it on purpose. It's just so easy.
This interview is over. I don't need to be insulted. I was a self-made millionaire before I even got involved in Bitcoin. I don't need to be insulted by some person on the internet. What's your gross annual revenue? Less than $1 million, huh? Less than $1 million. So that means you don't know how to run a successful business. Your little porno site, Stupotica, and you're here insulting what I'm trying to do, calling names and calling my project's names.
I called it literally a name, not an insult. And now you're the one trying to insult me for the type of work that I do.
I don't appreciate it. I'm not going to stand for it. I've never hired a single sock puppet. I don't need to be insulted.
So Roger Ver is kind of an interesting character in that he's kind of taken over the Bitcoin.com domain, and he kind of tries to confuse people and make them think that Bitcoin Cash is the real Bitcoin. He's even said things exactly like that, which is very deceptive in my opinion. He's not the person who created Bitcoin. He shouldn't be owning the Bitcoin brand, and he shouldn't be trying to convince people otherwise. So the fact that Private Internet Access has him on their advisory board leaves a very bad taste in my mouth. Not only that, but Private Internet Access also got a lot of shit for hiring Mark Karpeles, the person who was involved in the Mt. Gox scandal. Basically someone who ran off and stole a ton of Bitcoin. When confronted with this, Private Internet Access defended their decision and wrote a blog post about it in which they outlined that they think that people who do bad things should give second chances. Well, that could be true, but I don't know if they want them to be the CEO of a security privacy company. Other things like Private Internet Access's copious amount of Reddit posting, perhaps even spam, depending on which kind of the coin you fall under on Reddit kind of spam policy and content sharing. If you look at Reddit on Private Internet Access domain, you could see that they post stuff all the time. They really want traffic for Private Internet Access, and this is one way to do it. But depending on how you feel about this could be annoying to you if you're a really strict Reddit user. However, Private Internet Access has also done some interesting things and shed light on some possible connections that could be true about NordVPN, Proton VPN, Proton Mail. Some of these companies have been allegedly lying to customers, and it could be based in Lithuania instead of where they claim to be. Now, I've gotten in trouble by saying this in the past, and NordVPN has threatened to sue me. Proton VPN is also upset with me. But again, I'm not saying that I'm saying this. I'm not saying these things are true. I'm saying that other people have said these things, and then these people said they could be true. So that's my take on it. Anyways, I think Private Internet Access in this case was kind of a whistleblower and kind of an interesting dynamic. A lot of people said Private Internet Access is just trying to shit on these companies and say bad things about them to kind of weed out the competition. And Proton VPN even went so far as to say that Private Internet Access is attacking them because they present a new free VPN vertical that other competitors see as a challenge, when in fact Proton VPN has a pretty bad free VPN model, and something like Windscribe completely blows them out of the water. So overall, for reputation, I could give Private Internet Access pretty low since it's done some questionable things, but it's also done some things that I think are good for the VPN industry as a whole and shed some light on companies that could have some sketchy connections. Anyways, for reputation for Private Internet Access, I'm going to give them 3 out of 5. Next up on the list is speeds. Now, in the past, I've given Private Internet Access very good speed ratings. They do have good speed tests and the like that, but I found that their torrent speeds are a little bit slower than they used to be. Overall, they're just a little bit slightly faster on average, pretty similar to something like Windscribe, or lately testing VPN.ac also gave me pretty similar speeds in that respect. You can see a comparison here I did between Private Internet Access's real world torrent test, which is a good indication of how fast downloads you're going to get. Private internet access was around 2 to 3 to maybe getting up to 4 megabits a second, whereas TorGuard could get to 7 to 10 regions, so twice as fast, almost 3 times as fast in some cases. So that's a good indication of, the top speed and then maybe somewhere like private internet access, somewhere around there. So for speeds, I get private internet access 3.5 out of 5. Last up, guys, private internet access extra services. This is where we look at stuff like Netflix compatibility and how many connections a VPN has. Now, private internet access, they did increase their pricing, but they did actually increase the simultaneous connections that you can have with private internet access as well, which means you could share your account with someone else, or just have tons of devices at once connected to private internet access VPN servers. So you have 10 simultaneous connections. That's more than pretty much any other VPN out there. That's an insane amount to have. So very well done, private internet access on that front. Not only that, but private internet access has always had problems with Netflix in the past, but testing them lately, I found that private internet access does work with Netflix right now. It's not streaming or dedicated IPs, which means it could be blocked. You might have to talk to live chat to find which server to use, but testing it out right now, it does seem to work. So that's very good in my opinion, since you don't have to pay extra or do anything complicated. So for extra services, private internet access, 5 out of 5. Private internet access is going to get a 3.83 out of 5, ranking it as a good or a VPN that you should use. It's not going to be a 4 out of 5 or a 5 out of 5, which is among the best rankings, but nevertheless, it is tied for number 2 with Windscribe VPN. Thanks for checking out this review, guys, and here is the final breakdown. Hey guys, thanks for checking out this private internet access review. My priority on this channel is to do honest VPN reviews that are unlike anything else in the industry. If you want to support me, click on the links down in the description down below, or perhaps just buy a Tom Sparks t-shirt to show your love for the brand. Anyways guys, I'll see you again on the next VPN review, and I'll talk to you again very soon.